I was like, this is it. This is exactly what I'm talking. This is me. He's talking about what I want.
Yeah.
Get all these super accurate phone numbers, throw them into a dialer, and Austin, it was fish in a barrel.
What's going on, guys? Austin Zaback here with another episode of the Austin Zaback Show. Today we have a guy that basically doesn't need an introduction. We've got the man, the myth, Brent Daniels.
Come on!
TTP.
Come on!
Brent Daniels, man.
Let's do this thing.
I appreciate you being on the show, brother.
I want to bring as much energy and enthusiasm to this podcast as you and I bring to the real estate business.
Hey, you've been bringing a lot of, I got to catch up to you, bro.
Listen to me. You guys might not know this. You might not have had a tour of Austin's incredible office, but you've got at least 24 absolute savages out there that are going out and they're making a real impact in the real estate world.
They are. We're blessed, man. We're blessed.
You're going absolutely incredible. But that's a testament to you because you're the magnet that brought it all together. And I think that that's really, really important that you're loud about what you do. You've been doing this. I mean, you've been getting loud. You've been in front of a camera for a long time. You've been putting out a lot of content. You've been putting out a lot of passion for a really long time. And you could see it with this. I am telling you, I've been in this business for almost 20 years. And you walk into real estate offices, real estate wholesaling businesses, it's dead quiet.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing anything. Everybody's siloed into their little areas. Your office has energy. Your office has people on the phones. They're all making calls. They're all sending emails. They're all excited. They were all, it was an incredibly warm welcome. I mean, that is what it's all about. I mean, that's got to be the most rewarding part of this.
Dude,
right?
It's my favorite thing in the world, bro. Culture was always my biggest goal when I got started, and I screwed it up more times than I can even possibly count.
Yeah.
And I think the failure is what led us to where we're at.
Yep.
You know, I failed as a leader many times over the years. I failed as a partner, as a friend. You know, and I think in life you have to fail in order to learn what you need to learn, right? And in order to get to where you're trying to go.
That's it. But that's the interesting thing about business, and I think it's a really important thing to talk about is we make the money. Money doesn't make us. You know what I mean? So philosophically, if you pull that all the way back and you go, okay, if you lost all the money right now, how much are you worth? You know what I mean? And that comes down to the skills that you develop because you're actually going out there and you're taking action every day. But not only that, but you're documenting what you're doing. You're being loud about it, and you've been able to create a culture like this. And it's not. Listen, you are the exception. I'm the exception, but we shouldn't be. Right? People should be more comfortable being able to be loud about what they're truly passionate about.
I agree.
And if you've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, if you've read Think and Grow Rich, if you've gone down the rabbit holes of personal development and that stuff gets you so excited and you're just energized and you're out there actually doing something and that leads to you actually going out and talking to property owners, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That should be documented. And, you know, I think you and I are a great example of what happens if you go out there and you be brave.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I'm inspired by you and what you've built, and I've been watching you since I got into real estate. You know, Cody Sperber was my first mentor, right? And, well, it was technically Torsten Colson, but Torsten worked for Cody, and so when I paid Cody, Torsten was my mentor, and then eventually Cody was my mentor, you know, like my actual mentor. But, you know, you were one of the OGs. I mean, there was only a handful of dudes, right? And this was really before, like, social media was popular. I think it was before TTP.
Yeah.
I'm excited to jump into it a little bit and share with anybody that might not know who you are, like how TTP grew to where it's at. You know, almost 80,000 subscribers on YouTube. You know, I look today and that's double what I have, and you're just blowing it up, man. And I think you're really loud, and I love watching it. You know, I love the value you give, that raw, authentic value, where I think a lot of creators, and I'm inspired by that. Especially as I've gotten older, because I think when I started out as a content creator, I wanted everything to be perfect. And the more that I've matured and gotten older, the more I've realized that, like, dudes like you who are just, I mean, dude, there's really not a lot of editing. I mean, there's not a lot of, it's just like, here's me making a phone call. Here's me, here it is, right? Like, and I mean, obviously you've had massive success with that, so.
Whenever you're looking, and this is for everybody watching and listening, but whenever you're watching YouTube, whenever you're reading a book, whenever you're listening to a podcast, whenever you're at a seminar or a conference, you have to filter it in 3 different ways. Is this education, entertainment, or instruction? Okay. Right? And I remember early on, I was like, wow, I go to these real estate conferences and I was like, man, these guys are pumping me up and the music's great and the mentality's great. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go run through a wall. And then it's like, but I don't know what wall to run through. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, what do I go do? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So what I try to do is I try to bring, 80% instruction, okay. 15% entertainment, and 5% education.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Because you can read everything. And especially now with everything that's going on with chat AI,
oh my gosh.
and everything's going to be out there and everybody's going to know everything. It's going to come down to the people that take the most action and know the steps to follow, and then also have a community to be able to support them in doing that. And I see that that's going to be the real big difference moving forward for your business, my business, everybody's business that is in real estate is how do you build that culture you were talking about, that community in your own business. But also if you're gonna build a brand, you need to build a community.
Yeah.
And I learned that from Pace Morby and Jamil Damji, who have absolutely gone bananas in the last 36 months.
Insane community.
Insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Insane. But that's the value. The value is going to be in the community. It's not necessarily going to be in the education or the instruction. It's going to be in who are your homies that are going to be in the trenches with you.
Yeah, the day-to-day, right? Who do I lean on?
Well, listen, you start this business out and you don't know what earnest money is. You don't know what proof of funds is. You don't know what a letter of credit is. You don't know what a title company does. You get intimidated by lenders. You know what I mean? You get intimidated by real estate agents, or you become a real estate agent. You're not really sure what's going on. You feel like you're on an island all by yourself. If you go into a community where people are there to support you and they have that experience, and they want to really promote you and they want to push you and they want to empower you, you're unstoppable.
Game over. Yeah.
Because, listen, people that are going to watch this or listen to us and be in our world, they have a different brain.
Yep.
And I'm totally convinced of that. I think that, most people, they just want to live their life and they want to have leisure and they want to just reduce stress and they just want to just kind of, whatever, live life, pay the bills and do their personal life and live. That's great. We're psychopaths. Mm-hmm. We want to build. We want to go. We don't want anybody to tell us what to do. We want to experience things that other people experience. And we see these people doing amazing things. We go, why can't I do that? What would that cost to do that? What do I have to do that? Right?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Instead of those people are greedy or rich people are bad or whatever else, or it's fake or whatever else. We're like, oh, okay, well, let's just go provide a ton of value.
Yeah.
And make a bunch of money.
That mindset,
and be able to win.
That mindset of like you said, like the we have that, and some people do, some people don't. Like, are people born with that in your opinion, or do people acquire that over their life?
I don't know. I don't think it's a born thing. I think it's probably a nurture thing over nature thing. You know what I mean? I think that you've got, maybe there's some hardwiring in there that you're just like, as a kid, you're just hard-headed or whatever else. But I've seen people that were very, that I would consider an introvert go absolutely bananas.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And they just pivot? I mean, have you seen that journey for people?
100%.
You've witnessed it?
Yes.
And is it like, is it over a course of a couple of years? What have you seen?
I'll give you an example of a guy out of Georgia. His name's Hugh Boy, right? And he came to this country at 16 years old, no English, right? Totally, and was being made fun of. He was in the corner. He was like totally into himself. Now this kid's making $30,000 a month, making cold calls to strangers, asking them if they would consider an offer on their property. Right? So he removed that label that somebody put on him or he put on himself, and he just decided he's going to put a new label on, and that's what he was going to do. And since then, he's been able to accomplish a ton of goals that I think innately he knew that he could do. He just was fighting this label that maybe other people put on you. So I don't know, nature, nurture. I don't know if it matters. I think that it's one of those things that if you're listening to this, you're probably somebody that has a different brain.
Probably, yeah. Or I think there are people that might be listening that they want what you're talking about, and they want more than anything in the world to go and achieve greatness in their life. But they have self-limiting belief. They have doubt. They have fear, right? What does that person do? Like, literally, what are the action steps? Like, they get them watching this video, and then what?
Yeah. Well, you got two choices. Hit rock bottom. Honestly, lose everything, right? I mean, the interesting thing about that's what happened to me, right? So when you hit rock bottom, it's wonderful because it's a strong foundation, right? You know what I mean? So either you hit rock bottom or you just make the decision like that. You just make the decision to start taking action on whatever goal you want to do. You know what I mean? Or whatever you want to accomplish. You know what I mean? And it's amazing how many people have goals, but they don't have goals. You know what I mean? They have goals that or wishes or thoughts that they have or ambitions, but they don't like start going down the path of actually doing it because I honestly think it comes back to community. I think it comes back to the people you spend the most time with. And I mean, that's been in psychology for forever that, you know, you are a combination of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Right. And so, you know, I think some people are held back by their circumstances. I think some people are held back by the economics that they were born into or have created for themselves, like myself. And I think that makes them have those self-limiting beliefs and have those doubts. And we talk about. Sorry, I'm on a little bit of rant. Let me get this all out. I promise.
You got it.
But they're the 3 Ds, and we talk about it all the time. It's doubt, disappointment, and distraction. Doubt in yourself, doubt that you can accomplish what you want, disappointment when it doesn't happen right away, and distraction. I mean, listen, creative avoidance is real. You know, I'm about to, you know what? I'm pumped up. I took a shower. I went for a run. I'm ready to go. Had a protein shake. I'm going to make 15 calls today. I'm going to find a deal. But before I do, let me take out the trash. Let me fold this laundry. Let me go get a coffee from Starbucks. Let me get ready. Let me watch this video by Austin. Okay, now I'm going to get going to get ready to get started to finally make the calls, and then it doesn't happen. Right. Wow. So I think if you can realize it's one of those 3 things, you can diagnose it and you can get rid of it out of your life.
I love that. I've never heard it put that way. And I love what you said, too, a little while ago about rock bottom being a good foundation.
It is.
I always used to say that when your back's up against the wall, it's good back support, right?
Yep.
Which is basically the same thing.
Same thing.
Walk me through. You said you've been in real estate for 20 years. Just for listeners that maybe don't know you for some reason, obviously that means you got into real estate before the crash of 2008, right? Yeah. So walk me through that journey. You know, how did you get into real estate? And then, you know, obviously you said that you at one point hit rock bottom. I'd imagine it was in that crash at some point, right? Yep. What was your experience through that and what, you know, changed?
Yeah, it's in 2003, my best friend gave me the book that his dad gave him, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And that just, there's only 2 things that can happen after you read the book. You're changed forever or you just don't give a shit, right? It just doesn't resonate. And I was like, this is it. This is exactly what I'm talking. This is me. He's talking about what I want. Yeah. I want to walk into a room and there's an attorney and a banker and an insurance person and a property manager all waiting for me to get there and talk to them about, you know, what's going on and how much my wealth is being built and how much we're collaborating with each other and all these things, right? The whole mastermind thought and having your squad there. That to me, I was like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. So there wasn't a lot of real estate education. And so there was no YouTube, there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, there was no such things as podcasts. And so you got your real estate license. So I got my real estate license and became an agent and did well. But it was 2004, 5, 6. It wasn't my skills, it was more the market. And I have a huge family here and a huge, you know, and my family has, you know, a lot of network here. So I was able to sell in a bunch of houses. And when you're 22, 23 years old and you're used to having, you know, $1,000 in your bank account, now you have $100,000 in your bank account, you turn into an idiot. You know what I mean? I mean, if you don't have the right guardrails up and the right mentors around you, or even if you do, sometimes I was just a reckless, stupid idiot. So what do? I opened up my own brokerage. And I signed an office lease at the Scottsdale Air Park over here for 9,000 square feet. I had 85 agents in there. We were going bananas. I signed the office lease January of 2008. And by October of 2008, the economic world melted. And and I say this, the interesting thing is, if you don't pay your office lease, they sue you. They sue you for the remainder of the contract. So at 25 years old, I had a judgment against me for $740,000. Right? I had to go every 90 days to the attorney's office to see what was in my bank account, what assets I owned, whatever else, right? So I'm 25, 26. The market has totally crashed. I mean, I didn't know. I mean, I was underwater, like literally felt like I was drowning underwater for a good solid, I don't know, 2 years. And then I started scratching my way out. I joined a Remax brokerage that had a bunch of REO listings, which is the bank-owned listings. And I would be the sign call guy. They had 1,000 listings that were like for $40,000 each. And people would call me and I'd have to go and show them these properties.
Wow.
And make like $500.
Oh my gosh.
Right? But I fought and scratched and clawed my way out until I met Brian North and Derek Jarr. Incredible humans, and they were doing amazing, and they were investors. And so I said, if I bring you deals, will you guys buy them? And they were like, yeah, no problem. So I just started door knocking, Austin. I went out and I knocked 15,000 doors, and learned the skills of effectively communicating with property owners. And then one day, I got the phone number from a gal. And she didn't want to sell her house, but she was a caretaker for a vacant house down the street. She gave me the name and phone number for the owner that lived in New York. And I called her up. We put together a deal, and I discovered right then all I need in life is a name, address, and phone number of an ugly house, and I will make an absolute fortune.
Wow.
And that's what I've done.
And that was when did you meet Brian North and Derek Jarr?
2012.
2012. Okay.
Yep.
So from 08 to 12, you were just scratching and clawing and just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was doing I did a bunch of flips. I was able to raise some funds to buy properties down at the trustee sale. And so I was like, okay, I'm making these payments to this judgment. I'm doing okay. Everything's good. And then all the hedge funds came in and they started buying up everything at the trustee auction. So then that changed. So it's like, you know, that's an interesting thing about real estate is if you're dead set on just one strategy, it's going to be pulled out from under you at some point. It is, especially if you're making money quickly with it, it's going to be pulled out at some point. So you got to always develop the skills of effectively communicating with property owners, because then you could use different channels to be able to find opportunities.
Different exit strategies.
Yeah.
Were you wholesaling back in the day, like even before the crash? Like, because wholesaling wasn't as popular back then.
So I didn't know it. So this is what I did, Austin. I would bring it to Derek Jarr, and he'd be like, yeah, great. Yeah, I'll give you 3% for this. And then I'd go to the closing, and he wasn't on the closing because I was checking my commission. Because when you're starving,
when
you're starting out,
agent,
you're looking at that settlement statement. You're like, I better make sure that my commission's on there and it's good. And I was looking at there, and I was like, yes, okay, I'm going to make $4,500. It's $150,000. He's paying me 3%. This is bananas. I mean, this is a cheat code. Like I'm winning this thing. And then I saw that he's not on there. And then on the buyer side, there was this interesting thing at the very bottom that said assignment fee, $30,000. And I was like, Derek, are you buying this property? He's like, oh, no, I sold it. I was like, how are you going to sell a property? You don't even own the property. How do you sell a property you don't own? He goes, no, I sold the contract. I was like, what? What do you mean? You sold the contract? He's like, yeah, I sold the contract. And I was like, what? So I did 3 deals, $92,000 worth of assignment fees to him, 3 deals, and then I figured it out, and I was like, okay, I understand what wholesaling is.
So you made 3%.
My life changed forever.
You made 3% on those 3 deals. He made $100,000 basically, right?
I made like 12.5 on him, and he made $100,000. But it was
learned.
I learned, and that's the important thing, and that's why I get so loud. Is you can start with 0 experience, 0 money. You can just literally go drive in any area in town and find beat up properties. You can go online. You can literally go to True People Finder for free, White Pages for free, get the phone number, call them up and ask them, when do you plan on selling this property?
Right. Very simple to do. So why do people overcomplicate it then? You know, here we are with more information than we've ever had, right? You're really loud. Jamil's loud. I mean, a lot of people are loud about it, right? There's you can YouTube, there's courses, there's everything you could imagine. And there's a lot of people I meet right now And over, the whole time I've been in the industry, people struggle. People struggle. So like, if it's so simple, and we see that in every industry, it's not just real estate, right? You see a lot of industries that are very simple. It's like, hey, all you got to do is 1, 2, and 3, and they struggle. Is it just not for them? I mean, or they're just not taking enough action?
Who are their friends?
Right.
Who are their friends? That's all it comes. I'm telling you, that's all it comes down to is who are your friends? Are you surrounding yourself with people that are going to swallow their fear and swallow all their insecurities and just take action? Listen, the cell phone, I don't know where mine is. It's somewhere. The cell phone is the remote control for society. It truly is, and it's the portal to make as much money in the real estate business as you want. Probably any business, but this is the one that I have experience in, so I'm not going to talk about any other businesses. But if you pick up the phone and you talk to enough people that own ugly houses, you cannot lose. So the fear that people have is, one, they don't have anybody that's really doing it around them. They don't.
Yeah.
That's why people hire mentors. That's why people get coaches. That's why people join communities. But most of the communities that are like free communities, people are just waiting for somebody else to take action so they can watch them. Almost like a voyeurism type thing. Just bring people into a situation where they have to do it. Right? At the old brokerage, I was part of North & Co. for forever and had great experience there. Every Saturday, I would have a Super Saturday. And I would invite everybody down to call on distressed properties, on ugly properties. I would go around town all week. I would find all the ugliest properties. And then I'd go onto Monsoon, which is our tax assessor site through our MLS. And I'd filter all the rental properties that had been owned for 10 years, that were older, right? And they would watch me like this. And I say, okay, you're next. And they're like, no. These are real estate agents at a luxury real estate brokerage. And they're like, no. Yep. What are we going to do? And then you get them on there and they have great conversations. And then all of a sudden, boom, they take off. Their whole business takes off. So I think it's I think it's exposure.
Yeah.
I think it's exposure. I think it's who are you around? I mean, look at your office.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you were always like clustered away with a dark, closed, you turn your lights off all the time and you came in all schlubby and everything, you know what I mean? And never picked up the phone and never try to, get loud and never do anything, your whole team, the whole company would be that way.
100%. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you create an environment where people want to win and have a lot of fun and actually have energy and enthusiasm. And, you can't lose, I'm telling you.
No, you can't. I totally agree, by the way. And I love like just, talking to you and having the conversation. Not only am I learning, I know a lot of other people are learning. So when you were, and I just want to get through your story to present day so we can, so you went to North & Co., which I know Brian North. He's a great guy, by the way. I've done quite a few deals with him. I think he's coming on the podcast soon.
Amazing.
And so you were at North & Co., and, you were just an agent. Now, at the time, were you kind of being a regular agent too and kind of doing the wholesaling?
Yeah, I was split personality for sure. But my heart was in service of helping people buy and sell houses, but I never wanted to do that my whole life. I wanted to be my own boss. And I think we're kind of sold a lie as a real estate agent that we're entrepreneurs. No, we have a boss. Our boss is the people that we're listing and selling and helping buy. The client is the boss, and you interview for the job of being your boss like every day or every week or whatever else. So I was trained. I started getting trained by the Mike Ferry organization. Okay. Very proactive, very all about making calls. And so I was calling canceled listings, expired listings, and for sale by owners from 9 to noon every day. As soon as I realized what wholesaling was, instead of calling canceled, expired, canceled, for sale by owners, I was just calling these ugly houses. And at the time, there wasn't a lot of places that had skip tracing. But Derek, the visionary that he that did like, I don't know, a bazillion short sales, bought a skip tracing license through a company called LexisNexis.
Wow.
So I had this at the brokerage. So I would just throw in all these addresses, get all these super accurate phone numbers, throw them into a dialer, and Austin, it was fish in a barrel.
Wow.
Nobody was calling. Nobody even knew.
Yeah.
And that's, if anybody's wondering what TTP stands for, it's talk to people.
Yep.
If you haven't realized that. But I mean, it was fish in a barrel. So I just started doing that and really developing my systems. And then other people were coming along, and I was going to like meetup groups and meeting interesting people and seeing if they wanted to make calls with me. And they ended up joining my team. Incredible guy named Billy Bell, who does tremendous business. And we just grew from there. And so now we do anywhere between 1.5 to 2 million a year, and I keep 55% of it.
Wow, it's incredible. And are you still an agent personally, or did you let that go?
I mean, I have a license.
Okay,
sure.
So you still have a license.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so when did you truly build like the machine, like the operation?
2016.
2016. Okay.
So 2015, I was building momentum. 2013 was the first deal that I did. And that year was the 3 deals that I was earning commissions. So 14, I started figuring it out, but I was still playing the real estate. I mean, I had been building a real estate business for off and on, kind of, helter skelter since 2004. And so I didn't want to let that go. I wasn't really sure if this could be big. I was only averaging like $7,000, $10,000 a deal. I didn't really understand what cash buyers were. I was selling it still to the same, to Chris Iman and to Derek and to Brian and to some other people, and just, selling the same to the same people. So I really wasn't making those huge leaps. And then 2015, I closed a $42,000 deal. And I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
And I remember, Austin, I'm telling you, when you get, I think $50,000, when you get a $50,000 deal wired into your account, or you check with your name on it for over 50,000, your brain breaks.
Oh yeah.
It is broken.
Big time.
It is broke. Now you're all of a sudden, you're like, well, why not 100,000?
Right.
Why not $1 million on a deal, right?
Yep.
But I had that $42,000 deal, and I was shaking in the kitchen, and I don't know what was wrong with me. I was just like, I don't know if I can do this again. I don't know what's happening. Do I deserve this? What? And my wife is like, what do you do? Just snap out of it. What do you, just do what you do. You know what you're doing. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. So that, I really needed that big check to really launch me. And then in 2016, I read the book, The Go-Giver, and that changed everything for me. I read that every week for a year, which was really easy because it's a real thin book, and I just read the highlighted sections that I had, so I could read it in like 15 minutes. So it's not as impressive as it sounds, but I made $700,000 that year.
Wow.
And the years before, it was like 300, 350, and then it just went up, and then it millions. Yeah.
What did you do? You read this book, but what logistically changed in that moment? Like, were you going after new buyers? Did you bring on acquisitions? You developed your dispo team? Like, what practically did you do? What changed?
I made all the calls.
Yeah. Oh,
I did all the appointments.
Wow.
I sold all the deals.
So you were grinding.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a business partner at the time, Dustin, and he would sell the deals, but I was going out and doing all these things. And in 2016, I joined Wholesaling Inc. There was a podcast, Wholesaling Inc. And it's kind of a crazy story, but now I own Wholesaling Inc. And I listened to this podcast, and I heard this incredible guy, Tom Kroll, and he had so much energy and enthusiasm, and I just vibed with him. And I knew what I was doing. I knew how to technically do the deals, but I wanted to be in his world. And so I joined the community, and then I just started posting a ton in the Facebook groups, and I was showing people that you can get deals from being on the phone, and nobody else was doing it. Everybody was doing direct mail, or they were doing pay-per-click or bandit signs. And so
if you've ever wanted to get into wholesaling real estate and you want to learn how to flip contracts and wholesale, right? Maybe you're brand new, maybe you've never wholesaled a deal, or maybe you're even doing a couple of deals a month right now, but you want to learn how to do more. Instead of joining my coaching program or somebody else's coaching program, we're actually looking to hire. So go ahead and message me 480-418-5339 and send me a text message opportunity. Okay, so if you want to work with me, you want to work with my incredible team, you want all of our leads, you want all of our systems, all of our processes, everything, right? And I've done about 2,000 wholesale deals in my career, then go ahead, shoot me a text, 480-418-5339, and message me opportunity. And look, especially if you're in my state, okay, the state of Arizona. If you live in Arizona and you want to get into wholesaling, this especially is an opportunity for you, because you can come sit right in this office with my entire team and be a part of one of the biggest wholesaling companies in the country. I look forward to talking to you.
He asked me to teach on that, so I ended up doing that.
Wow.
So, but to get back to you, in 2016, got an acquisition manager, got another acquisition manager, and then 2017, me and Dustin, who's incredible, we split. He has an incredible, unbelievable business now, and I went off on my own and built basically a 4-man team.
Yep.
I have a lead manager. I have an acquisition manager, junior acquisition manager, and disposition manager.
Got it.
And that's my team, right? And so I like doing, I like keeping it small and keeping it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. No, and that's a phenomenal way to build. And I love how you
Not like this.
Well,
I mean,
think
you've got a dynasty out here.
there's levels. So like, for us, we have to make probably, I don't know the exact numbers, but if I want to make, I mean, we run about the same margin. We run about 50% margin on the wholesale side, so it's just more, right? It's just, you're playing it at a bigger level and there's more involved, and you got to be, it takes more from me and from my partners, and it's taken a lot more for a long time, right? So I don't know that one's better than the other. I think that the way that you're doing it is really cool. It frees up probably a lot more time for you to do more of this.
Well, I work 5 hours in the business.
Right.
Yeah. I work 5 hours a week in the business, and most of that's on Fridays when the team comes in. So it's truly a servant to me at this point, which I love. Yeah. And I just love it because I know markets shift and I know markets change. And the hardest part about the 2008 crash for me was not getting 2 cars repoed. It wasn't foreclosing on 5 houses. It was having to fire people, like letting them go. Not even fire. I mean, I just couldn't afford them. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they were doing a bad job. There was just no money. And that was like so heartbreaking to me. And I was like, you know what? The next time around, I'm going to keep this real tight.
Yep.
And it's going to be something that I know it'll be more like a jet ski than a cruise ship. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It'll be real nimble to be able to change course with whatever happens economically, because you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is wholesaling still your main strategy,
Yes.
or are you doing a lot of other stuff as well now?
No, I did about 100 flips throughout my career, and it's fine, but it kept me up at night.
Yeah.
What paint color? What cabinets? Oh, the flooring. Hope somebody doesn't break in and steal the new black stainless steel appliances, right? You know what I mean? What's popular right now? What kind of bulbs are these? You know what I mean? Like, It would just drive me crazy. And I was like, I'm not built for the design part of this and all the little details. And I could probably hire somebody to be able to do that. But I was just like, why don't I go in and find an opportunity? I mean, we average now $35,000 a deal. And I talk to the people that we sell our deals to that do flips, and they average like $32,000 a deal. Yep. I'm like, I'm making more than these guys, and I take no risk. So I think it's smart to stockpile the cash and buy really good properties in really good school districts when it's the right time. Because I think that's a huge mistake that people make, is they go, when's the best time to buy real estate? When's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. No, it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. There are times to buy real estate in good areas.
Sure.
It is. And we're entering one.
Yeah,
which is real exciting.
I'm excited to talk about that in a little while. I want to get your feedback on the market and everything like that. What would you say, like, for somebody just starting out? Obviously, your whole brand is TTP, right? And when and I'm probably pretty similar to you. Like, my main marketing strategy I've been in real estate for 8 years, has always pretty much been cold calling. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've done a little bit of direct mail, a little bit of pay-per-click, a little bit of this and a little bit of that, right? But primarily cold calling, right? Like, so for you, have you done all types of different marketing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did direct mail. It was cool when it's great deals when it works, but it ended up being like $15,000 in spend to do a deal. Yeah. And profitability is everything. I mean, and just to touch on something real quick. Well, let me answer this, and then I'll get real deep into business in a second. Done direct mail, done pay-per-click. Both have been fantastic at certain times. We've turned them on, turned them off, test them here and there, and just see if they work out. Referrals is huge. So we built our business off of text message marketing, cold calls, and referrals. That's our 3 legs to our stool.
To this day? Yeah. Do you still think texting is a viable marketing method with all of the regulation?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just have to do it differently? Or use
I use launch control, so they're TCPA compliant, so I don't have to worry about anything.
Is launch control, does it send them like in the text where they get to opt out?
Nope.
It doesn't?
Nope.
Interesting. Okay.
Nope.
Wow. I guess I'm not familiar with launch control then.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, I'll have to look into it. Yeah, texting's awesome. I mean, we texted a lot.
Yep.
But we just, I mean, man, the 4 or 5 different times, we had just, the fines, and we stopped doing it, right?
Sure.
But I wouldn't mind.
Were you texting to be an agent or to buy the houses?
To buy the houses.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and what, they charge you $1,500 to
$1,000.
settle it?
I don't even think it's $1,000. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. I think the problem is when you're an agent, you have to be careful because we're with EXP, right? And I want to talk about that in a little while with you too. But what happens is if you get these savvy people that want to complain, they complain to your broker, right? And then it gets complicated, right? Because then you run the risk of losing your license. So now if you're just a wholesaler.
Why?
Well, I think companies like EXP don't love wholesaling right out of the gate, right? So like
That's changing.
It is changing.
I'm with EXP, brother.
We're approved. We're one of the only people approved with EXP. So we run all of our wholesale deals through EXP, right? And I know all the brokers. I know Kathy. I know Tiffany. I know Marcy. And so they're fine. But I think if you had 10, 15. I mean, if you got to a point where you were really getting a lot of complaints, I could see it being a problem. For us at least. I mean, the volume that we're doing.
I mean, it depends on if the complaints are legit.
That's true. Very true.
Depends on if it goes to court.
Yeah.
Depends on who your attorney is. Depends on how much advice you take from your attorney when you send out your messages. Depends on what platform you're working from.
Very true. Well, the platform's big.
Yep.
I think that's probably one of the biggest ones.
Well, yeah. Yeah, and it also depends. I mean, you can alleviate a lot of the issues by scrubbing against a litigator list. That's people that have litigated people on any kind of TCPA issues.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you said a little while ago you got up to $700,000 a month, right? Doing it all pretty much yourself before you really started to delegate. Like for people watching or listening,
a year, not a month.
$700,000. That's what I meant.
That would be awesome.
Right. What would you recommend for people? I think a lot of people try to scale too fast. Like they try to remove themselves too quickly.
I love that we're having this.
What are your thoughts on that?
Listen to me. The biggest mistake, and I want you to be honest and let me know if you've done this because I certainly did. Most people start out and your financial thermostat is set low, right? The way that you're brought up, the thoughts you have on what is investing into your own business and these type of things. Most people set I'm going to only pay myself $5,000 to invest in my business, all the profits, and I'm only going to take home $5,000. I'm only going to take home $7,000. I'm only going to take home $10,000. I'm only going to take home $20,000. Yep. That is a huge mistake, and let me explain why.
Okay.
All right?
I want to hear it.
All right? Because it is income minus profit equals your expenses. Okay? It's not income minus expenses equals profit. If you set that profit as high as you possibly can, you will have a bigger, more profitable business. I'm not saying you. I'm not pointing at you. I'm just I'm being dramatic here for a reason. I want anchoring language in this conversation because truly what happens is people go bananas with their expenses and then there's slippage and then they start hiring people that they don't really need. And then there's redundancies. And then there's let's go throw some money at this thing thinking that it's an investment in your business. It's garbage. It's nonsense. Unless you're going to build something that you're going to franchise, nobody's going to buy your business. Nobody's going to buy your real estate team. Nobody's going to buy.
It's one of the industries. Nobody's going to buy
your systems for finding deals. I mean, maybe from like a coaching and mentorship perspective, but nobody's going to buy this thing. So it's not like you're building a tech company. It's not like you're building, a restaurant that you can franchise, or you're building some sort of, store that sells really cool things, right? No, it's not that, right? So why are we making the mistake of going, oh, I'm going to set my little limit here of, and I did this for years, Austin. It's $7,500. I'm going to pay myself $7,500. That's what I'm going to take home because I don't want to pay too much in taxes.
Right.
And
I love that we're having this conversation.
Right?
By the way, I'm gonna if you don't answer all my questions, I'm gonna ask you more.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get it to the point where you scrape all the profits. I mean, you take as much money home as possible because the point of this business, yes, you want to be able to bring in incredible talent. Yes, you want to be able to grow and sustain and have long lasting. But more important, you want the freedom. You want control, right? You need to take the money home for your family. Right? And everybody wants to give it to everybody else's family.
Right.
And that's cool. That's cool. But I'm telling you, you take it home and you take it to your family, you're going to feed a lot more people because your business is going to run a lot more efficiently and your income is going to go way up when you know that you set a minimum standard of $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a month that you want to pay yourself, or you scrape off all the profits except for 30 days worth of expenses in your account. It all comes home to you. You're going to pay taxes, yes.
For sure.
You're going to take it home, but you're going to also have a bunch of money to be able to buy really good opportunities when they arise. You're going to be able to invest 80% of your income into whatever it is, whether it be the market, whether it be in crypto, whether it be in real estate, whether it be in anything, opening another business, whatever it is. But everybody sets these tiny, tiny little financial thermostat things that says, I'm going to just keep it right here. I'm going to keep my income at $250,000 for the year. The rest is going to go into the business. And you look around, 3 years later, you're still on the same treadmill because nothing came home to your family.
Wow. Dude, that is powerful what you just said, because I've done it. So you asked in the beginning, you said, I'm going to ask you if you've done it. I have done that, right?
Of course.
For many years, actually, I've done that. And with many different businesses and many different partners, and it is definitely the wrong thing to do. And I think I started to honestly learn that probably just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Not very long ago. Like, it has not been a very long period of time where I'm like, I gotta pay myself. Like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not taking care of myself here. Like, I'm not, like, I literally got to a point where I'm like, I don't go to the dentist. Like, I don't do anything.
Right.
Like, everybody else is winning at a really high level.
Yeah.
And I'm not winning.
Right.
Like, it might look like I'm winning, but at the end of the day, I wasn't winning. And there was a point in time where we were making $4, $5, $6 million a year.
Yep.
And I wasn't winning.
Yeah.
Right. And so I totally agree with you. What are your thoughts? And I think a lot of people,
that's why I don't. By the way, this whole thing is exciting to me. I love that you have this office. I love that you have all these people. I love that you have all this. I looked at my business, my model. You have a different model. You've got a couple different things going on that are outstanding, and I'd like to dig into that more. But I looked at my model and I said, okay, if I bring on more people, paying them what I'm paying them now, and they're going to stay around, and there's not going to be a lot of turnover because I'm really paying these people well, and they're getting bonus well. If I had a $4 million business, I'm netting the same amount as if I had $1.5 million business.
Yeah, it's true.
So why would I have more responsibility and headache and not be as nimble? You know what I mean?
I do, yeah.
And that's my model. I mean, your model's different. You're doing incredible things.
I agree,
but it is what it is. And, you know, I had a conversation with a couple of guys that had a two, they said 2.5. I think it was more like $2 million wholesaling business. And you can find out what people really net by just asking a few questions about things, right? And they were bragging about spending $80K a month in marketing and how much they had 10 acquisition managers and 5 disposition managers and all this stuff. And I was like, so you guys net like 10%?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. And we were at Stake 44.
Okay.
Right? And I know they were partners. So as partners, they had like 20, 30 people on their team. They're making $100,000 each.
Yeah.
Take home. The guy serving us the steaks was making more than that.
Right. 100%. Yeah, you're going through a lot of hell to make $100,000 a year. Right, I totally agree.
And a little, and if the economy is like an accordion and it squeezes in just a little bit, you got to get rid of everybody.
You do, yeah. No, you've got to be very careful. I think you've got to be very careful. What are your thoughts on taxes? You know, you say like, hey, just pay yourself and then pay Uncle Sam, right? And a lot of people I talk to they're either one or the other. I want to pay Uncle Sam nothing. Yeah. Right? Or I get people on like Zachary Keeps, right? And he's like, pay him. Yeah. You know, he's like, pay him. Be bankable. Yeah. Right? Be bankable. So like, what's your take on that?
I'm probably in the middle of there. I've got an incredible family office that manages it, right? And so they find different opportunities to be able to limit the amount of exposure. But I mean, I paid almost $1 million in taxes last year. You know what I mean? Like it's fine. I don't want it to be that high. I'd like it to be less, but it is what it is. We're going to get taxed. You know, you get taxed when you die, right? You know, you get taxed. They're going to get the taxes. I mean, that's the rent that we pay to live in this country. It truly is. So everybody that's like, oh, well, I'm going to go buy a bunch of real estate. Well, you have to buy 8 times the amount in real estate every year that you make an income to be able to write off that year.
Is that the number?
8 times.
I didn't know that. Wow.
8 times, right?
Yep.
So you make $2 million, $3 million, you got to be 16, $24 million in real estate, which means that your balance sheet, because you're probably not going to buy that cash, you're going to probably buy that with some leverage. 80% of that is going to be debt.
Yep.
And oh, by the way, buying properties like that are going to be commercial. Oh, by the way, commercial loans are adjustable rates.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, by the way, you have to have a lot of experience to be able to buy those deals anyway. Or you go out and buy a bazillion single family houses and, you know,
and you're just kicking the ball. Right? You're riding, I mean, with real estate, really, you're just kicking the ball down the field. You're eventually still going to have to pay when you sell.
Well, and
right?
How much attention? Listen, it's not, in this life, it's not time management. It's not priority management. It's not energy management. It is attention management. It is attention management. So where are you going to put your attention?
Wow.
Is it going to be on your children? Is it going to be in your relationship with your spouse? Is it going to be with your parents that aren't going to live forever? Is it going to be with the people that you work with? Is it going to be in your business? Is it going to be on your fitness? Is it going to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
You only have a certain amount of attention every single day. So if you want to go out and do a bazillion things and try to avoid it, you're going to run. It's going to catch you.
It will catch you eventually.
And then you go and build it all, and then you get divorced, and then 50% is gone. Get out of here.
I had a saying for a long time where like I saw people that would it went something to the effect of, and I didn't make this up, I got it somewhere, but like people spend the first half of their life trying to create wealth, right? And they sacrifice everything to do so. And then they spend the second half of their life spending all of their wealth to regain, like, let's just say their health, right? And it is a paradox. It doesn't make any sense. Like, and yet people do it all day long, every single day, right? And so I think that there has to be a little bit of balance. And I'm excited to talk about that too here in a little while. I want to talk about how you've balanced your family and your wife and your kids and building a company and doing social media, because you do have a lot going on. Although you have a smaller wholesale operation, maybe compared to like, you know, what I might have, you have more going on. I would argue, at least right now, when it comes to social media and just being out there and being a part of all these different communities. I mean, I see your face everywhere. I mean, I YouTube Brent Daniels, and it's just like I've never seen more videos than what you guys.
Yeah, but that's
out.
just time blocking. You know what I mean? I mean, we shoot. Daniel's sitting right here. We shoot on Tuesdays. We shoot on Thursdays. We do a live show Monday and Wednesday. And I get to do what fulfills me beyond anything else, and coach people on how to get wholesale deals all day long. So I mean, it's really, I mean, I go to my cabin in Flagstaff pretty much every weekend.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I walk my kids to school every morning. I used to travel a bunch, but my oldest son, Seamus, he's 11 and he's nonverbal autistic. So there's a lot that goes on in that. And so I need to be home, right? I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, I'd love to travel and speak on stage and go and do all these fun stuff, but that's why I built a studio. That's why I bought cameras. That's why I have incredible talent that can, you know, make me look good and somewhat sane. You know what I mean? So it's really time blocking. It would shock you how smooth things really go on a weekly basis, and it's the same. Yeah, it's the same every week.
So I want to talk more about that here in just a minute. I'm trying to kind of go in order for listeners and viewers. You know,
let's screw this whole thing up.
I love it. All right, let's.
You know what I mean?
So
they don't care.
We'll bounce around then. So
sure.
I do have a random question before I forget it. You know, you're an agent, right?
Yeah.
You don't practice real estate as an agent, though. I can't imagine. Right. You're with EXP.
Yep.
A lot of your buddies now, and a lot of my buddies, are going to Real.
Sure.
How long have you been with EXP? Like, when did you join?
A few months
ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what are your thoughts? Like, I guess then why did you join EXP over Real?
I didn't. I had a buddy that was with EXP, and I was like, cool. It didn't move the needle. I don't. It doesn't really factor
You don't do
in.
much with it?
No, I don't do anything with it. Yeah.
What about building the revenue share model?
I have no interest in that.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to build a mini brokerage. I already did that. You know what I mean? I get it. And it's incredible. It's the same thing as I get from coaching people that don't have licenses on how to go out and get real estate deals. It's probably the same thing that you get by teaching people and bringing them into your world and probably more profitable on your side because you get to stay in their world for forever.
Yep.
But I love the coaching and mentorship. Now, could that change in 12 months? I don't know. Maybe you'll convince me. I don't know. You know, it might be 24 months, might be 36 months. But right now, again, it's attention management. I have an incredible coaching and training company. I just bought Wholesaling Inc. That was less than 4 months ago.
Wow. Congratulations.
And so, yeah, it's an incredible honor and a torch that's being passed, and I take it seriously. So I got to figure that out first, Austin. I got to really pour into that and really get that dialed in. And I think that I can make the biggest impact there, helping people get their first deals and scaling their businesses so that it's super profitable and they can have a lifestyle where they can work in the business 5 hours a week and profit 50% in their business. I know that I can do that. I've done it for the last 5 years. So that's what I'm focused on. I keep my wholesaling business going with my best friends. Like my acquisition manager was the cornerback on our NAU football team. I was the free safety, and my disposition manager was the strong safety, and his wife. Yeah. So and then we've got the incredible Chad Coulter, who is our another acquisition manager. We found Chad on LinkedIn. He was door knocking, selling solar during COVID.
Wow.
From North Dakota, knew nobody, and he's absolutely incredible. So that's where I want to pour into, and that business is incredible, and the coaching is what I want to pour into. So I've got that brand that I got to build first.
When did you get into like coaching and education? Then, like when did you really start to like push that?
2017.
Okay.
Yeah. So 2017, Tom Kroll. Who, and if you guys don't know Tom Kroll, I don't know how much he has still out there. He's kind of pulled everything off. He's the most incredible mentor of all time. You should know.
I don't think I've ever heard of Tom Kroll.
He is, bro. He will blow your face off. He will impact you so deeply. It's incredible. He is incredible.
He used to make a lot of content.
He coaches coaches.
Okay.
He owned Wholesaling Inc.
Oh wow.
He was So now he has Coaching Inc.
Yeah.
But he's very particular about who he brings. Anyway, it's he asked me to speak on stage in 2017, and I went and broke down my numbers, and everybody's in the crowd like, what the hell is this? And just kind of blew up from there. And then now everybody makes calls, which is really a cool impact to have. And it's changed a lot of people's lives because you don't have to have a huge budget to be a real estate investor, to start out in real estate and be a real estate investor. You just need to find an ugly house and talk to the property owner.
You need work ethic.
Well, barely.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to, you do. I mean, you do, but nobody listening and watching this doesn't have that.
Right. That's true.
That's baked in.
Would you recommend that if somebody do you recommend wholesaling being their do you tell people like in advance, like let's say I'm 18 years old, right, and I want to get into real estate, but I have no idea where to start. I don't have credit, I don't have money, I don't have, like is wholesaling the first thing that you tell people to get into, or is it talk to a homeowner, distress situation, needs to sell, and then figure out the exit strategy, or
wholesale.
Is it like learn wholesale?
Wholesale.
Okay.
I think for the first 12 months in real estate, you should do nothing but wholesale. I really do.
Yeah.
If you have a license or don't have a license. I really do. I would, if you had me speak to all of your agents here, I would tell them to wholesale their first year 100%.
Wow.
Because all of them don't want to be real estate agents; they want to be investors. They want to own rental properties. They want to have passive income. I don't think anybody's like, you know what? I want to, I want the award for being the greatest real estate agent for the next 10 years. Maybe there is. Maybe
There's
I'm
a handful of people.
Maybe I'm being cynical.
In the luxury game.
Sure.
Maybe in the luxury game. Yeah.
But I mean, for most people, they don't want the grind every day of interviewing for the job of selling somebody's house and showing them houses.
I agree.
So I would tell them to go out, find as many ugly properties as possible. Here's how you filter. Here's PropStream that you can go into and find all of the distress, the people that have liens and pre-foreclosures and they're tired landlords and their vacant properties, and go out and find all of the ugly properties that you can find and call up the homeowner and see if they would consider an offer on their property.
Yeah.
That's how it started out. And then that's the foundation that you build, and then you can do whatever you want. You could fix and flip, you can develop, you can add to your rental portfolio, all those things. The problem is, Austin, there are so many different strategies in real estate, and everybody goes, oh, that looks easy. Oh, that looks fun. Oh, that looks easy. Oh, that person's making a fortune over there. I got to try this and this and this. And they don't go anywhere.
They don't do anything. Yeah. They've got shiny toilet syndrome or shiny object syndrome or whatever it might be, right?
Yep.
I couldn't agree more. Do you believe that people need to be a part of a community? Because I think I see a lot of people, and you see this more than I do, owning the coaching company and the mentorship and all that, but like people that they understand like maybe how to do the first couple things. Like they could potentially go call people and get a property under contract, maybe.
Yep.
But then they're just like a deer in the headlights. Like they don't know what to do now. Like who do I sell it to, or where do I open escrow, or like what do they need to be a part of a community? How often do you see somebody that's just on the island go complete a wholesale deal on their own? Yeah.
Somebody always has somebody else that knows the process. You know what I mean? Yeah. And sometimes that doesn't necessarily mean another investor or a mentor or a coach. Sometimes it's the title company. Sometimes it's the escrow officer. Sometimes around the country they have closing attorneys, and they go, okay, you got this deal. You know, I actually have a buyer for this. Is that what you're trying to do? Yeah. Okay, great. Do you mind if we max it? Sometimes it's the hard money lender. How many hard money lenders in our town also wholesale?
Oh my gosh.
All of them.
A lot, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's just finding somebody that already is a few steps ahead of you to pull you through your first deal and to pull you through your first year. And then all of a sudden you're building that momentum and that confidence, and you understand the process and you have the skills.
If you're a real estate agent or a real estate wholesaler, then you know that lead generation is one of the most important aspects to any business. You know that you have to consistently generate leads on a weekly, monthly, and yearly basis. That way your team has people to call, and that way you're constantly getting new opportunities in your company. I actually partnered up with a company called Rocket Lead Services, and they have VAs that are outbound cold calling on your behalf every single day. In my experience, there's a lot of different ways that you can generate leads as an agent or as a wholesaler. You can do pay-per-click, you can drive for dollars, you can do text messaging, you can do Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and so much more. In my experience, I believe that cold calling is by far the #1 way to generate leads in 2022. Not only is it my favorite way, but it is the highest ROI from what I've ever found. So Rocket Lead Services is one of the best companies out there for doing just that. They have virtual assistants that get assigned to you and to you only that are constantly calling motivated sellers to generate leads for your business. Again, this is for anybody looking to generate seller leads for their business. This is for a solo real estate agent looking to do a couple of deals a month, all the way to teams that have over 100 agents and you're looking to generate more leads for your team. Wholesalers that are looking to generate more seller leads, all the way to wholesalers that are looking to do many, many deals per month. Go to www.rocketleadservices.com and go ahead and book your free consultation. Again, that is www.rocketleadservices.com and book your free consultation. Now, let's get back to the show.
And then you're set, and then you're running.
Yeah.
You know, but a lot of people just don't know what to do that first 90 days. People don't know what to do that first 30 days. You know what I mean? And you tell them, oh, you got to do this, and you got to build your center of influence, and you got to, reach out for referrals, and you got to do this and that. Find an ugly house.
Yeah.
Go talk to the property owner. Worst case, you list it.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Worst case.
Yep.
You list the property. You know what I mean? So I think that there's so much opportunity for anybody that understands how powerful the phone is.
I completely agree. I think the phone is the most powerful. I think human beings, right? When I think of, I preach it in a lot of my meetings. I'm like, show me an industry where talking to people is not like relevant. I mean, like coding. I mean, like being a dentist, but then no, because I was going to get veneers one time. I didn't end up doing it. And who did I go to? I went to the guy that was verified on Instagram.
Right.
He's talking to the most people, right? He's a marketer. The
Yeah.
dentist is a marketer, right? Why would I use you over you? Well, this guy's a better marketer. I think he's a better dentist, right?
He's louder.
He's louder. So I think no matter what it is, right? It's in order to do anything in this world, there has to be a transaction between two human beings.
Yep.
So if there's going to be a transaction between the two human beings, that means I have to talk to that human being in order for that to happen, right? And people are so afraid of that, it just blows me away.
We don't have a product.
Right.
We don't.
No.
I mean, we don't have a product. I mean, unless we own the house, unless we're flipping a house, then we have inventory, right? But if we're an agent or we're just getting started out in real estate and we don't have this flip that we're going to do, all we have is our voice. That's it. Whether that's through text, whether that's through talking to somebody, whether that's meeting them face to face, knee to knee, belly to belly, that's what we have. So if that's what we have, why wouldn't we develop that to the highest possible level?
Yeah.
And the people that do make all the money. That's it.
I agree.
There's so many. I mean, I've been in real estate and real estate brokerages for a long time. There's so many people that just want to play in the computer. And I was like, I would rip out every computer there is and just like give people their phones. Yeah. If you want to find a deal on Zillow or if you want to find whatever, just use your phone and go. You know what I mean?
I do. A lot of people right now are saying that wholesaling is extremely difficult, right? I hear it every day right now. The last 4 or 5 months, whatever it's been. I see a lot of people going novation, going seller finance, going subject to, right?
Yeah.
And I see a lot of people getting out. I mean, just straight up. Like I see a lot of people just getting out of the industry. I mean, we have people in this office that not very long ago were running their own operation, right? Yep. And they're here now because they saw, the power of the community and the culture and the environment because they were on an island doing it themselves, doing 2 deals a month, and those 2 deals are now gone. Anyways, what are your thoughts at 2023 wholesaling? Should people go more creative? Like, should they learn that game or should they double down on wholesale?
Well, I mean, you can wholesale creative.
Sure.
So the more,
but you got to know the language, though. You got to know how to.
You could be taught that in an hour.
Sure.
I mean, that you don't have to do too many crazy things to be able to communicate. If people own properties free and clear, it's different if you're getting into like a subject to, or you're getting into a wrap or something like that. But if people own properties free and clear, you just ask them if I could get you that price, but it's going to have to be in payments. You open to that. Yes. Okay, great. Here you go. Right? It's as simple as that. I mean, we do it every week. So, one word, skills. That's it.
Wow.
The people that didn't have the skills before could sell deals because every deal sold.
Right.
Every deal sold.
Yeah.
You didn't have to have skills. You didn't have to be consistent. You could sell a deal, make $30,000, take a month off, and then just pick back up again, do another one, and make $40,000. And all of a sudden, you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is the gravy train. I've figured it all out." You need skills. You need the skills of understanding how to filter out the distressed properties. There's 143 million residential properties, right? I'm not even talking about vacant land. I'm not even talking about multifamily. I'm talking about just houses and townhouses and that in the U.S., right? And 6 to 10% of that, statistically speaking, from the U.S. Census, is in distress at all times.
Wow.
Whether that be that they be vacant, whether that be that they're dated, whether that be that they're going through foreclosure, whether it be a lien, whether it be whatever else, they're in distress. It could be emotional distress. It could be financial distress. It could be the distress of the property, the condition, right?
Sure.
So if 6 to 10%, that means that there's upwards to 14 million opportunities that we have every single year, loaded up every single year. There's not 14 million people wholesaling.
Agreed.
I don't even know if there's a million. I don't even know if there's 100,000 people wholesaling.
I would be surprised if there was. Yeah, because all you got to do is look at the view count of the top wholesale guys. Like, you get a lot of views.
Yeah.
But how many of those views are the same views? Right. So like, I bet there's probably 100,000, but not more than that. I don't think.
Right.
I don't think there's like millions of wholesalers.
Right.
By any means. I mean, there might be millions of people who would like to get into the industry.
Sure.
But how many people in the world have ever done a wholesale deal?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, not a ton.
Right.
Right.
But wholesale, the interesting thing is wholesale's been around forever. I just read the 20th anniversary of Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he started breaking down some of the deals he did early on, like in the 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s, right? He went to, in 1993, he went to, right, Daniel, 93? Yeah. He went to a seminar on no money down, put together some deals. And then he talks about a deal he did in Phoenix on a multifamily, and dude paid him 50 grand to take over his contract.
Wow.
To replace his interest in the contract. That's wholesaling.
Paid him 50 grand, yeah.
That was in 1993, homie.
It's just
you know what?
contract law, right?
Yeah.
I've done a deal on a napkin before and open escrow, you know? So
But I think, so to answer your questions and put a bow on this thing, I think that it is an incredible time if you're willing to build the skills. And it's going to start with understanding what the cash buyers want. And for the first time in a long time, because a lot of people got into the industry the last 3 years, you could abuse buyers. But you didn't really understand that the buyers hold all the power. I don't care if it's this microphone. I don't care if it's the camera. I don't care if it's a house, a car, a toothbrush, right? The buyers determine value.
Sure.
If this thing was $100,000, you would not buy it.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So the buyers determine the value of it. That's
What they're
all.
willing
That's
to pay.
economics. That's it. So the buyers are the ones you have to go to now, and you have to say, what are you looking for? How can I serve you?
Yep.
Before it was like, here you go, cash
Right.
buyer. You guys fight for it like a bone and a bunch of dogs going after it.
I
You know
agree.
what I mean? Now they're like, now you have to actually have customer service. Now you actually have to communicate with them. Now you actually have to find out what they're looking for and find them real deals.
Yeah, I agree. And I
That's
think
the difference.
And that's almost like, to a degree, like reverse wholesaling, right? Which is, hey, I'm gonna start with the buyer criteria, and then I'm gonna source the deal for the buyer. Whereas I think the last 3 years, it was, I'm gonna lock up anything I think is a deal, and I'm just gonna throw it out there, and somebody will buy it.
How about hedge funds?
Right.
Come on.
100%.
Made a fortune on hedge funds.
Everybody did.
Then,
Anybody that was taking
Right.
advantage of it, yeah, for sure. And now they're gone. I mean, there's one or two that are buying at a fraction of what they were, but the majority of them are gone.
Yeah.
Right. And do you think they'll come back?
100%.
Yeah, just a matter of when.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when do you think that'll be? Like, a lot of people are talking about rates and nothing will change in 2023. It's what I'm hearing most common right now. I think is like 2024 will be the year. What do you think about that? No, nobody has a crystal ball.
Yeah, no, I don't think it matters. They've been around for a while, and it's a new asset class. Single family properties is a new asset class that's going to stick around. So I think that they're here to stay. I think they're going to eat up a lot. A lot of people are worried that we're going to be like Europe, where certain companies or families own all the real estate and everybody's a renter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of countries, but I don't think it'll go that far.
Well,
but
it would take a long time if it did,
I mean, they own like 0.5% of the properties here. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that they're here. I think that if you understand what they're looking for, you can reverse engineer and make a bunch of money.
I agree with that.
And I don't think they'll ever like stop. I think they'll just slow it down.
Yeah,
and be real picky.
They're going to be pickier. I think a lot of them, they ultimately, I mean, they're even building, what I think is interesting right now is I'm seeing a lot of like Fundrise and a lot of these big, whatever you want to call it, I guess hedge funds or crowdfunding or whatever.
Yep.
They're getting into a lot of the build to rent.
Oh, I know.
Single family. Build
I know.
Like a whole community, like 300 homes that they all look identical. It looks like a normal neighborhood, right? But it's one owner.
Yeah. What's
Detached.
what's Amazon's owner's name?
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
He has a new company.
Yeah.
Arrive.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's Arrive. You can Google it. I might be totally wrong. But it's crowdsourcing to buy partial interest in single family houses.
Wow. I had no idea. I'll have to look it up.
Bananas.
That
it's
is insane.
absolutely bananas. And he's not going to be the only one.
No, absolutely not.
Because they'll buy a property at $500,000. They'll sell it to everybody crowdsourcing at $700,000. You know what I'm saying?
do.
And then they get a slice of the returns for forever.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
What's the biggest mistake that you think people make? Like just in general. Like
Yeah.
if you had to name one mistake that you just see all the time, whether that be wholesalers, building a company, hiring people, culture, I don't know. Just like what is the mistake that you just see over and over and over and over and over again, where you just wish you could just like shake somebody to death and tell them like, why are you making this mistake?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is they don't surround themselves with the right people. 100%. I truly believe that. I just, if anybody's around you, they're going to do more. And if they don't, they're going to be gone fast.
Sure.
Right? Anybody around me is going to do more. And if they don't, they're going to be gone fast. You know what I mean? Like you have to surround yourself with people that are doing exciting and better than you and more than you and push you and challenge you and support you and love you and embrace you and care about you. And that's been the biggest thing. And if you don't have that, then find a mentor. Honestly, split all the deals with them for the first whatever it is so that you can be in their world so that they can introduce you to other people. You know what I mean? Go to meetups, go to get on some of these live events that people that I do on YouTube or Pace and Jamil do or you do, where people can chat in the side chat and connect with each other. You need to squat up.
Yeah.
That's it's a message that we've had on Wholesale Hotline that we do every Monday. And a live show that we do every Monday. And the whole reason we do the show is to squat up. Pace and Jamil are my competitors. Yeah. We love each other and we squat up. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. No. It's collaboration over competition. You know what I mean? And you should want to compete. You should have that fire in your belly to do better than your buddy or as well as, you know what I mean? Or bring something to the table that they can put into their business and make an extra couple $1 million. You know what I mean?
I do.
So I think the biggest problem is I think a lot of people don't think that they're worth it. I think a lot of people don't believe in themselves. I think a lot of people have labels that they've put on themselves. And I think a lot of people compare themselves to where they think they should already be. And it holds them back.
It's powerful.
You know what I mean?
I've done that.
Of course.
Yeah.
So have I. Especially in my 20s and early 30s. I'm 41 now, and it's like, you look back on it and you're like, oh my gosh, if I would have I had the connection right there, and I was just like, no, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to show them that I'm worthy to hang out with them and that type of thing. If I would have just entered somebody's world and brought them income, brought them opportunity, whatever, had them help me out on a deal and split the deal, give them the whole deal.
Yeah.
I would have had that connection and doors would have opened a lot faster.
Yeah. Pretty crazy what relationships can do for a person.
It's everything.
Everything's a relationship.
What do we have at the end of it? We all die. We all die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So it's like, what are you going to do with the time that you have left here? Yeah. You going to be stressed? Are you going to be worried? Are you going to constantly kick yourself in the ass because you're not achieving the amount of potential that you have, or recognizing or pushing yourself to see how much potential you have? Sure. I mean, that's exciting. That's the point that when you really step out of your comfort zone and you try something hard and you pick up a phone and you call a stranger and you start making some momentum and you make a connection with somebody that's doing cool things and awesome things, you feel like better than any drug can make you feel, better than anything can make you feel, because you earned it. And and nobody can take that away from you. And then you build the skills, and it doesn't matter if you lose everything. It doesn't matter if you get sick. It doesn't matter if you get hit by a bus, can't work for a while. It doesn't matter if you go through some terrible situation. You have your skills.
Yeah.
Who's going to take that away? You
Nobody
can't take the skills away.
Can't take the skills away.
Yep.
Do you believe in like reading books and you're a big book reader? Yeah. I listened to a podcast the other day with Gary Vee and it was Gary Vee and the CEO Project. He's big on YouTube, big podcast, and he interviews guys. And anyways, Gary's like, I've never read a book.
Yeah,
and I thought that was a little bit interesting. I was like, huh, I guess it just to each their own, right?
Yeah, I like walking in the shoes of people that went through some real shit, and came out the other side successful. Somebody that, you get to spend 4 or 5 hours with some of the most incredible minds that have ever lived. And I think that that's really cool. Very but also, some people are just run and gun and some people don't sit down and read. That's fine. I mean, I don't think that there's a right and wrong to it. I don't look down on it. I don't look up to it. I think that people that read have an advantage, that it just plunges all the negative things that we deal with every day out of our head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When
do.
you're reading, you're not worried about that thing you read on social media. When you're reading, you're not worried about that, comment somebody left you, or you're not worried about that email. You're not worried about that deal that fell out because the title issues. You're just in that book, in that person's
moment.
shoes.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool and really positive, and that plunges your brain out. And I think the more, and I find the more that I read, the faster words come to my mind, and it just makes me more comfortable speaking.
Wow.
And being on the phone and communicating and whatever else.
Very good outlook on that. Yeah, I love reading too, and listening to audibles. I like to read though too. I think a lot of people they just transition to just listening to audiobooks, where I like to pick up a book if I can, and read it. But I know we're getting a little bit long here, but I want to just go and talk about your education stuff for just a minute. So you started on YouTube after you met the guy that now had the podcast that you just acquired, if I'm understanding it correctly, right? Yeah. So he kind of introduced you to putting out content, is what it sounds like, right? Did you put out content first, like free value, and then eventually get into education?
Yeah, 100%. But that was under his instruction. The first time I did like a Facebook Live, I was like, I can't do a Facebook Live. Why would anybody want to? That was when Facebook Lives were a thing. Yeah. Right now they're just kind of garbage. Now it's YouTube. But I remember they're like, okay, you need to do some Facebook Lives. You need to do some podcast interviews. And I was like, what? Like, I don't even know. And by the way, the second interview they made me do was Bob Berg, the guy that wrote The Go-Giver.
Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I was terrible. It was really bad. Now I've done hundreds, but they were like, listen, you need to serve in the community and then we'll see if we want you to be a coach. So get in there, be as loud as possible, help as many people as possible, have people reach out to you in DMs and do that. And I was like, okay. And then I saw Max Maxwell started with his podcast channel. And I was really intrigued because he was just documenting. He was just doing the Gary V thing, right? And he was just documenting his journey as a real estate investor. And I thought that was really cool. And I was like, okay, I think I need to do a YouTube channel. And it started out with me and Alejandra Murch, who is still with me and runs a lot of things in my business. And she had never done video before. Mm-hmm. She had only done photography, and so she just put a camera up, pressed the thing. Yeah. I went, did my thing. We turned it off, put it into YouTube, and hopefully this year we will get past 100,000 this year, and then hopefully at some point catch the algorithm, and get exposed to a lot more people. And I've got great mentors in that game. I've got Jerry Norton, who was here for a while. He's got an incredible flipping mastery, a YouTube channel. Pace Morby's over 100,000. And he's just in a different stratosphere. Jamil's got a great channel. You've got a great channel, and so it's
When did you start building the education stuff? Like, and what? By the way, can you explain for me and for the listeners, like, what is your education program? What does it look and feel like?
It's a full-on mentorship. So, if you don't have access to your mentor, I think it's probably a mistake. Maybe not. It depends on how they structure it. But everybody has my phone number. I have everybody's phone number.
Wow.
We've had over 2,000 people over the last 5 years, and I really understood that the community part was really the long-lasting value of mentorship is the community. Yes, access to me. Yes, I can comp properties and help them sell properties and walk them through the process and everything there. But the community's that. So we do 15 support calls every single week.
Wow.
Teaching creative finance.
15 a week?
A week.
Wow.
Creative finance. And these are taught by people that are millionaires, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, these are people and my team,
Sure.
So they get access to the people that are in each role of my team. And so, and obviously I do the support calls as well. And so it's just, we get on Zoom and we answer everybody's questions. And then 2 hours a day, every single day, my team is making calls live to our leads, locking up the deals, negotiating, overcoming the objections, the whole thing. They go, and that is the best part. I think that's the best part. And then we bring in all the people that have the best tools. On Thursday, I did it this morning. PropStream, batch leads, the launch control for the text blast investing. There's a company called Privy. Have you been messing with that at all?
I haven't used Privy yet. I was going to ask you about that in a little, like at the end of the interview, because I was going to ask you what different
Your
software.
team.
What do you like about Privy?
Your team will go absolutely
because I've seen it. I think I understand it, but like, tell me about Privy. Just like
first of all, from a cash buyer standpoint, they have pictures of the before and afters of the flips in whatever markets you're in, and you're everywhere. Yep. So it shows you what the buyer's looking at. It shows you what percentage they're at. It shows you everything that's listed in certain markets that are not nationwide. They have to get access to all the MLS, but they have these are the properties that are listed under market value. Go after these and the percentage. And here's the comps that were just flipped in that area that support that. So talk to these buyers, see what they think about this property. Go negotiate it with the listing agent, what price you have. Deal.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
That's what you're doing right here, right?
Literally. But we're doing it manually.
What you're doing.
Yeah. Manually. I love that.
You're gonna send me a bottle of champagne. I know it, or a bottle of bourbon. Yeah, but I'm telling you, you'll really enjoy it. And for the cost, it's silly.
I'll have to look into it. Well, you'll have to just get me connected with whoever I need to talk to when we get off the show.
Yeah, for sure.
What kind of inspired you to like? I got mentored by Cody Sperber, and me and Cody are actually friends again. We're good friends, and there was a period of time where we weren't, but now we are, and I'm very grateful for that. And I've seen the Jamils and the Codys, and I mean, there's now like Graham Stephan to everybody you could possibly imagine. I feel like has a coaching program, and they all look a little different. I've kind of noticed, right? Like, Ryan Pineda, you get 2 masterminds a year or 4 masterminds a year, and this guy over here, you get whatever. You know what? And I've thought a lot about doing something eventually, like, and there might be people listening that have value in even a different industry. I mean, I think there's a lot of other industries even that could benefit from, hey, here's how you cook, or here's how you, right? Like, how do you create what it is that the student gets? Like, because for you, it's 15 calls a week. It's everybody gets my number. It's, for somebody else, it might be, we're going to do 2 masterminds a year. Yeah. Like, how did you...
How did I figure out the structure?
Yeah.
I'm swimming in the wake of what Pace and Jamil have done a lot, and I'm standing on the shoulder of giants with that, and also with Tom Kroll. And Tom Kroll is all about the whole mentality is it's not that you bring the horse to water and hope it drinks. You scoop the water up in your hands, and you bring it to that muzzle, and you make them drink, and you make them successful. So it all comes down to making sure that people are successful. You're just not going to last. You know what I mean? That's number one. So again, it goes back to instruction. So we have courses that people can go through, and we really stay on top of all the trends. And I use my company as a laboratory to make sure that we have the most clean processes, so that we can coach that, right? For you've got a unique position where you could do something real dangerous in EXP or whatever it is, with agents that can do some exciting things. If you want to pull on that, I think that you're in a wonderful position to be able to do that. And I know people that make an absolute fortune in EXP that have done that.
Brian Colhane will be here next week. If you're familiar with Colhane, he recruited Elena. Cardone. So he, guys like that are just murdering the game. Right. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Yeah.
So, it's just, you got to provide incredible value, and you have to be available. You have to be there. You have to be answering. It's like building any kind of community. There has to be a community leader, and that's going to be you. And they're just going to want people to have access, and they're going to want to see you do it. They're going to want to see you on the phone. They're going to want to see you, negotiate a deal here and there. They're going to, we're long gone is the Wizard of Oz behind the screen where, oh yeah, he did it and it was wonderful. You need to show that you can still do it, and you still have the enthusiasm, and you still have all those skills, and that's what takes you to the top. And that's what that's why we get on and we make calls live, and we're doing it right there, and people are like,
yeah. I love that.
And because it's real life. And listen, I've talked to 45,000 property owners. 45,000 property owners myself. You need to go and get into the dirt. You need to go and do a lot of work before you, I think, earn the right to be able to build communities like that and to be able to coach people effectively. So anybody that's, just been in it a few weeks or a few days or a couple years and they've had a great year, listen, one great season doesn't get you into the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? You need to have a long track record of understanding different markets, different strategies, and be able to do it yourself.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So then, to your point, do you think a lot of people get into education way too soon nowadays? Like, there's
you mean
a lot
to coach?
Yeah,
because they want to get out of the grind. They want to get out of the grind of the daily basis. Yeah, it's a quick money grab, but it ends up being a huge distraction.
And it's not sustainable, probably.
No, not at all.
For people like that,
not at all.
Because you see a lot of people that it's literally like just math, right? Like they're too young, like. And I'm not going to name names, but I do see a lot of people who are like 19, 20, like, and there's no way you've been in the industry long enough to teach everything that I need to be taught to go make $100,000 or $500,000 or $1 million or whatever, right? Yep. And I just can't wrap my brain around that. I think that's why I didn't do education for so long.
Sure.
Because I actually didn't want to be that guy. Like every now and then I would be like, I'm going to do it. And then I'm like, nah, it's not, I don't want to do it yet.
Yeah, I think if you're young and you have that, I think people that, are a couple years of experience and they're just superstars and they're out there and they're doing amazing things, just let people join you. Just do it for free.
Yeah.
If you do it for free, you're going to build the biggest business ever. And then you get into whole other things like, do you buy into a technology company that sells the picks and shovels to be able to find the deals?
Right.
Do you make money from affiliates? Do you even need a coaching program? You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I think there's some smart guys that I've seen pop up that are giving everything and showing everything and doing everything, and they're not doing coaching, they're not doing these masterminds, and they're not doing anything like that, but they're building a brand and then just saying, hey, listen, this is what I use. I will get an affiliate fee from this. If you're getting value from it, I'd love for you to use my coupon code and boom. And that's a whole different revenue stream. And people make more on those than they do from coaching.
I believe it. Yeah. I've seen it. I remember being backstage, and I won't say numbers, but I remember being backstage with Max Maxwell probably like 4 years ago. And I remember asking him, he was about to go on stage, and I was like, hey, how much do you make from PropStream? Like, as an affiliate back then, and he told me a number that was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, I was like, dang.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of freaking money from being an affiliate,
But he brings incredible value, and people are happy to use his code. You know what I mean? Like, what is it?
No, it's great.
If people don't want to do it, if people want to...
they're going to pay the same price no matter what. You may as well use his code.
Yeah.
Right? I completely agree. And if it's how you heard about it, I mean, then you'd be... Why wouldn't you help another person out, and they're the reason that you know about it to begin with. Like, I completely...
But that's what I think people get into coaching too easy, and they should build an audience and build a community and see what happens.
I love that.
And I think that's what's going to come down to, especially with this open AI stuff and all the stuff that's going to be happening in the next 5-10 years. If you want to build a long-lasting business, it comes down to one thing: community. That's it.
I love
that. That is it.
Yeah.
It comes down to the community, and we've got people in our community that are selling deals with each other every day. Every single day, people are doing deals between each other. People don't even have to worry about who has the cash buyers or who has the actual deal. This person has the cash buyer. This person has the deal. This person knows how to do subject to deals. This person knows how to do wraps. This person knows how to do, land contracts, all these things. You don't have to know it all. Get on a phone and mute yourself with somebody that already has done these deals. Let them go and negotiate the deal, put together the paperwork. You stand back there, do 50%, and now you have an idea of how to communicate effectively on those deals for forever.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
I do.
Everybody's like, no, I got to learn this strategy and this strategy, this strategy and this strategy. You need to find a property owner that has made the decision that they're going to sign a document that's going to transfer the ownership of that property to somebody else. That's all you need to do. That is it.
100%.
You do that and you have a community, you're set for life.
You're good.
That's it.
I love that, dude. I love that, man. Well, hey, I know we've been here for a while. Your time's extremely
awesome.
Valuable. So if you were to go back, last question, if you were to go back to tell your 18-year-old self, or maybe you were to tell one of your kids that you have now, right? Something that you've learned, man, like just, it could be life. It doesn't have to be business. It could be anything. Relationships, life, advice, like how to balance. I mean, what what would that piece of advice be? Like, hey, this is it. You got to take this with you for the rest of your life and live with that. What would that be? It's a tough one.
No, I tell my son, my 5-year-old son, every day walking to school, and he says it to me now. You need to be confident, you need to be kind, and you need to be curious. That's it. Confidence, kind, and curious. Confident, kind, and curious. So I think that's what it all boils down to. I think if I had a message for anybody, that would be it.
Wow.
If you're confident, kind, and curious, you win. You know what I mean? So I think that's just to wrap it all up and not be too verbose about, and pontificate about, all the great ideas I have in my head. I think that's what it comes down to. I think if you're confident, you're going to make friends. I think if you're confident, you're going to take action. I think if you're confident, you're not going to let insecurities creep in and those limiting beliefs. I think if you're kind, you're going to be a magnet to bring incredible people to you. And I think if you're curious, you're not going to get stuck in a rut and think that everything's going to happen the way that it did the day before. And so you have those three things. I think that you're going to be incredible.
I love that. Yeah. And if you're kind, you're not going to let your ego get out of control, probably because you're kind, right? Like
course.
so that kind of takes care of the overconfidence, right? Because
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, I see a lot of people that are underconfident or they're too confident. It's like you're where it's ego now driving the boat or driving the car. I'm like, okay, well, you should be confident, but be humble.
Well,
right?
listen, it's tough to do.
It's tough to do.
Trust me, I was a total douchebag in my 20s. A total, like, the worst. Just the worst. But I had to go through that. Now I understand that that it's just silly and nobody cares. You know what I mean? Nobody came up. When I became a millionaire, nobody came up. Nobody celebrated. Nobody was like, here's your trophy, bro. You know what I mean? Here's your award. Isn't this amazing? Nobody cares.
Yeah.
My family doesn't care. I go to family barbecues. They don't care. Nobody cares. Only we care. You know what I mean? So just go out there, be confident, be kind, be curious, and go absolutely make an impact and just serve. Yeah.
I love that, man.
Yep.
Dude, I love it, bro. Where can people find you?
YouTube, Brent Daniels on YouTube. I would invite anybody that if any of it struck a chord or it felt good in your gut about wholesaling, or maybe you haven't heard about wholesaling, go to Wholesaling Inc. On the iTunes or podcast or wherever you want to do that. And you can find me on IG.
I love it.
Yeah.
Hey, appreciate you being here, bro.
Yeah.
Drop some massive value to the audience. I really appreciate your time.
Awesome.
Hey,
thank you.
I appreciate it. And thank you so much for watching. If you're still watching, make sure to leave a review, okay? Drop a comment, leave a review, and appreciate you. We'll see you in the next one.